insights, picks, results. This is Wizard Sports Picks. Beyond the Lines.
Welcome to another edition of Beyond the Lines, presented by Wizard Sports Picks. Sunday, November 30th edition. Ian Cameron back with you, and we are ready to talk NFL football for Sunday. I've got two games that we will break down on this edition of the show, but before we get to that, check out wizardsportspicks.com. It's a great time of year to be a sports bettor. It's a great time of year to be checking out the great handicappers at wizardsportspicks.com and the premium picks on the website on a daily basis in a plethora of sports. This is the busiest cycle of the sports betting calendar year. NFL, college football, NHL, NBA, college basketball, all ongoing at once. So check out the website and subscribe and get on board and purchase some premium picks from any of the great handicappers at wizardsportspicks.com. All right, let's talk NFL. We've got two games that we're going to look at in this edition of Beyond the Lines. We're going to start with Jacksonville taking on Tennessee in an AFC South divisional matchup. Jacksonville, 6-point road favorites in Tennessee, the total 41.5 in this game. I'm going to focus on the total in this game. The Tennessee Titans are a team that they've had their issues on offense throughout the season, no question. Cam Ward in his rookie year, it's been a year of growing pains. It's been a season where the offensive line has really, really struggled to adequately protect their quarterback, and that continues, and that has been a big problem for Tennessee throughout the season. But the offense is starting to come around. You could make a solid case that Cam Ward might have had one of his best games of the season, maybe his very best game of the season last week against the Seattle Seahawks. Keep in mind, this is a Seattle defense that's one of the better defenses in the NFL. I thought Cam Ward was solid, more than solid. You know, they still did struggle to run the football, but Cam Ward throwing the ball, probably the best I've seen this year, 28 for 42, 256 passing yards and one passing touchdown in that game, 24 points for the Tennessee Titans against a very tough Seattle defense. You know, signs of progress, signs of improvement for Cam Ward and the Tennessee offense. And now you're taking on a Jacksonville defense that, to be honest, they have shown more than their share of warts and struggles. They allowed 39 to the Rams, 29 to the Raiders, 36 to Houston in that terrible collapse they suffered against the Texans. And that was, of course, Davis Mills at quarterback for Houston that day. And, of course, they give up 24 points in a back-and-forth struggle last week with the Arizona Cardinals. You know, and Jacoby Brissett having a lot of success against that defense. So the Jacksonville defense hasn't been great. I think there's a chance Tennessee's offense is able to move the football again here. The problem is Tennessee's defense is still a big problem. They've struggled to get stops. They're in the bottom quartile of the NFL in all the major statistical defensive categories. Against the pass, against the run, they've struggled against all of it. Trevor Lawrence should have the opportunity to do what he wants, and there's a chance Brian Thomas might be back at receiver, and boy, what a boost that would be for the Jaguars offense if he's able to return. But obviously this is a Titans defense that, again, has had lots of issues, both against the run and the pass. Jacksonville should have success doing whatever they want, really, as far as either through the air or on the ground. Should be able to have success either method they choose to move the football here in this game. This total just seems a bit too low in my mind. The weather's not going to be terrible for November football in Tennessee. You look at the recent trends of these two teams as far as points. You know, you look at the Jaguars, 3 of their last 4 games have gone way over this total. And they have gotten, to the 42 mark or more in 4 of their last 5 games as far as total points are concerned. Tennessee's been an over machine of late, 4-1 to the over in their last 5 games. Those games at 44, 52, 47, and 54 points. The only game that stayed under was the Houston game a couple weeks ago, 16-13, in what was not admittedly the best weather day for that Texans-Titans game. So I think this total is low, and I think it can get up and over. So Jacksonville, Tennessee will go over 41.5 in that game. All right, the second game, San Francisco 49ers, Cleveland Browns. San Francisco, 5.5 point road favorites, 35.5 the total. Note it's expected to be extremely windy here in Cleveland for this game, and that is why this total has plummeted. You can rest assured that anytime there's wind in the forecast, bettors are going to be looking to take the under, and that's exactly what we've seen here in this game, and that's exactly why we've seen such a move toward the under because of the wind that's in the forecast. The San Francisco 49ers, you look at them, and they're coming off, obviously, a very solid 20-9 win against Carolina on Monday Night Football, their second straight win and cover since getting Brock Purdy back at quarterback. And there's no doubt their defense, which is still battling, a lot of injuries. They've certainly struggled because of those injuries, but certainly a big step forward for that San Francisco defense with the way they played against Carolina. But this is a tough spot here for the 49ers. You're traveling all the way to Cleveland, the Midwest, on a short week, playing Monday Night Football, of course, against Carolina. And this defense I still do have concerns with it. I know they played a lot better against Carolina on Monday Night Football, but I am still worried about this 49ers defense. Now, I know it's Shedeur Sanders. It's a rookie quarterback on the other side who got his first NFL start last week for the Cleveland Browns, and we cashed a ticket right here on Beyond the Lines last Sunday in this video series, taking Cleveland plus 3.5 against Las Vegas. They won that game outright. I thought Shedeur Sanders made a very solid account for himself in his first ever start. He had a 66-yard touchdown pass to Dylan Sampson. It was a wonderful play. Obviously, there were some bumps in the road, too. And you look at it, he made some solid plays. Yes, he made some mistakes. He did have an interception. There were a couple of occasions where he missed some open receivers. But you know what? He also used his legs at times. And for his first start of his NFL career on the road, I thought he did okay. And look, when you look at this 49ers team, they've been decent against the run. We'll see if they're able to contain Quinshon Judkins, who's been a big part of this Cleveland offense running the football of late. I think when you look at it, though, the San Francisco offense, he struggled against Carolina. And yes, Brock Purdy back, but after playing well against Arizona, he had 3 interceptions in the first half. The offense really took time to finally get going and on track. And now you're playing a Cleveland Browns defense that has been at their absolute best at home. They've played pretty good football overall, but especially here at home. The Browns' defensive numbers across the board are way better at home this year than they are at home. And like I said, Myles Garrett's an absolute wrecking ball right now as far as blowing up the line of scrimmage, getting after the quarterback. And certainly that's going to be key here, getting after Brock Purdy. And we know there's been some issues at times with the 49ers offensive line. And the Browns have been solid against the run. So this may be a game where Christian McCaffrey is contained a little bit. They're very good defending the middle of the field, this Browns team. So is this going to be a game where, Brock Purdy's going to be able to find George Kittle, his great tight end, and some of those safety valve outlets, if you will? It won't be easy. So I think this is a pretty difficult matchup for the San Francisco offense. I don't think the Cleveland offense is going to move the ball up and down the field easily either. So I definitely think lower scoring game, but obviously it's well represented by the total being at 35.5 for this game. But I like how this sets up for Cleveland. They've been very good at home this year. In fact, they're a perfect 4-0 against the spread at home this year, the Cleveland Browns. They've been very solid covering numbers. They covered in defeat against Baltimore in their last home game. They beat Miami, won and covered at home. They won outright as a 7.5-point home underdog against Green Bay. And, of course, they got the point spread cover as well against in that game they fell short. So let me just double check. 4-1 it is against the spread for Cleveland on their home field this season. But the bottom line is this team has played, pretty solid football on their home field this year. As I mentioned, 4-1 against the spread in their 5 home games. They haven't lost a home game this season. The Cleveland Browns by more than 7 points. They lose by 7 to Baltimore at home. They beat Miami. They lose by 4 to Minnesota. They beat Green Bay. They lose by 1 first week of the season at home against Cincinnati. So they have been in just about in every single home game. Have not been blown out on this field all season. And given the fact for the 49ers, you're coming from the West Coast after playing Monday night, and I've known from watching the 49ers the last couple of years, Kyle Shanahan has struggled in these spots, these early start road games on the East Coast and the Midwest. These haven't been gimmies, automatic W's, automatic easy victories for the San Francisco 49ers. So I like Cleveland again this week on Beyond the Lines. We cashed a ticket with them last week in their win against Las Vegas, and I'm going to come right back to the Cleveland Browns here in this game against San Francisco, and I'm going to recommend the Cleveland Browns plus 5.5 against the San Francisco 49ers for my second selection on this edition of Beyond the Lines. That's a wrap for this edition of the show. Thanks for tuning in as always. Get to the website, check out wizardsportspicks.com, and invest in any of the great handicappers on the website. I'm Ian Cameron. Enjoy the games and the NFL action on Sunday, and good luck. And thanks for watching another edition for Sunday, November 30th of Beyond the Lines, presented by Wizard Sports Picks.